live yet? I should probably go check my actual channel here. I'm probably live. Yep, yeah, it says I'm live, so might as well tweet this out quick. Boom. Oh, there it is. Alright, so it's been a while since I've last been on live streaming. We'll see if I get any randos on here listening to me today. If you do, thank you for joining me. So, sort of big news in my life going on. I turned in my notice at my current place of employment and got an offer from another place, so I am joining another company here. After mostly 7 years at the same place, there was about a 6-month stint that I worked remotely for another company, which was a good experience, pretty good. But pretty much everything has been here where I'm living now, which is in a small town in northern Minnesota. I am now going to be relocating to my hometown where I grew up, my wife grew up, and everyone grew up. Not everyone, obviously. And so, yeah, it's going to be new adventures. I'm going to relocate and move. I got to sell my house, all that kind of fun stuff. So, we'll see what happens there. Tonight, though, what I'm going to do is I have totally not gotten into .NET Core at all yet. In fact, so it was what? ASP.NET 5 is kind of what started that thing off, and then it got a name change because it didn't really reflect what it was and all this stuff, and I'm not really too familiar with it. So I feel like an utter noob there, and so we're going to go ahead and try to figure out just how to get a Hello World type thing. And now I think, if I'm not mistaken, that grunting, if you can hear it in the background, is my dog Riley. He's a French bulldog. He's very, very loud sleeping. My thought is that, or my initial thought was that use .NET Core for doing new kind of, it was really tied with ASP.NET 5 or just the new way you're going to do websites. But apparently .NET Core is much lighter weight. You can actually just do like straight console apps in there. So my understanding, I think what they're trying to do with it is go to be kind of more Node-like, I guess, maybe. Or just closer to other languages like Node or Ruby or whatever to get started and up and going. So I think I totally misunderstood what was going on there. So I got to pay attention and read more. But hey, this is what you do: is you kind of put on the back burner a general knowledge about a topic. When you think you might need it, or you want to learn about it, or comes time where you're like, I hear enough about this that I should probably look into it. That's when you go and look into it. So that is what I'm going to do tonight, I think. So I was looking around a little bit, and this looks like, well, why did it do that? It's weird. This looks like the .NET Core preview website. It's very easy to get started with .NET Core on your platform of choice, which my platform of choice is Windows. Although I really should be playing with Docker more. Oh, my dogs are fighting now. I got another golden retriever-ish type dog down here. His mom's a black lab, but so lab retriever mix, whatever. Alright, so one of the things I'm not going to do is build it directly or put it in Visual Studio directly. And the reason why, straight Visual Studio 2015 community, the reason why I'm not going to go that route is that I feel like it abstracts away too much for you. And when you get into that kind of mode where, like once you understand it, it's great to have all that abstracted away. You've learned it, you know what it does, you can just go into it. But if you start from ground up and say what's the least, they're fighting now, the easiest possible way to get into this, that's the way you should, or the simplest possible way, the most rudimentary, the most foundational way to get into it is probably just via the command line here. So I'm going to pretend like I'm one of these command line users, and that's what I'm going to do. So you can download the .NET Core SDK for Windows. And as you can see, it's going to take me a little bit. Actually, maybe you can't see. Let me just, whoop. There we go. Got it downloading here. Might take another minute or so. Now, my hope is that when I install this, I don't have to restart, because that would suck to stop the live stream, restart, and come back. But I guess that could happen with this. So, we're getting it going. And what I will be using for the editor, though, when I actually figure out what I'm doing here, is my other favorite little editor, Visual Studio Code. Oh, I've got some, I guess while I'm kind of tinkering or playing around with that, or, well, now it's downloaded. Let's go ahead and install it. Why not? Microsoft.NET Core RC1 SDK Preview. Cool. I think I agree to all that. Options. Oh. Nope. Never mind. I'll just install. So, installing. A lot of fun watching me do that, huh? Boom! No restart. Awesome. Alright, so we've installed it. Cool. I will not show you this here. I will open up a different instance of Visual Studio Code. If I have time later, I will actually show you that. But, and this is weird how this is doing that. Alright, so initialize some code. Let's just go ahead and open a folder here, or what we'll do is create a folder here called .NET Hello DNH. Why not? I'll just open code right there. I hate how when I maximize this in the corner, it's not going to 1080p. It happened to this once before where it's like, I'm going to use up as much space as I can until I find the next window. Yeah, it's weird how it does that. Now I got it to work by just expanding another one. It's bizarro. All right, open up a command prompt here. What do we got to enter in? Make directory app, which let's just say I am. We're in it. I just go .NET new. .NET's not a recognized command. What? But I downloaded the .NET Core SDK. So how do we do that? .NET is not a recognized command. Why do I always have trouble with this? I don't know why. So it's used there, but it's not in the command prompt that I open here. What is the difference between these two? Windows 10. Dogs are really going at it down there. Well, that's no problem. So let's say, now this is just a tip for Windows users, if you've never seen this before. You hold Shift and you right click on this, and you can go copy as path, right? So I will just CD to there, boom. .NET, not net, no, it's .NET, what was it, .NET new. Create a new C# project, cool. And you can see in my Visual Studio Code here, we got program.cs and project.json. And I'm assuming project.json, very much like project.json in new, yep, in node world. So .NET restore, .NET run. So .NET is kind of acting like npm, I'm guessing, is how this works. We'll close that for now. I might need to install a C# plugin for that. So, but let's just go .NET restore, which downloads some packages. Holy cow, it's really downloading there. Maybe, we'll see. Boom, 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 boom. Notice how nothing's actually in my project working directory here, so this is probably downloading it directly to someplace on the hard drive, I'm guessing, or some temporary directory. Whoa, yeah, there we go. Yeah, look at it go. Let's grab all of it. No, didn't finish it. All the things. Oh, there it goes again. Well, while that's downloading, maybe I'll talk about that other project thing I was playing with yesterday. So I was on the Ludum Dare. Oh, you know, every time I get into this, something finishes. So we'll come back to that, maybe. All right, so everything's installed, but it looks like that, like unlike Node, it doesn't create a Node modules folder. It just kind of, yeah, I don't really know what all this stuff is. Holy cow. Oh, my dog's barking. Wow. Anyways, whatever that file is, I don't care. .NET Run. Compile successful and ran. So you can see that doing that gives us a bin folder, like we would expect probably. DLL, all that kind of jazz. My dog's really going nuts back there. Yeah, object folder, just like you'd expect, and it's good to go. So I presume then, no, let's see if I can get this hooked into .NET Core. There we go. What's nice about you hit .NET Core executes. You hit F5 in Visual Studio Code, which, you know, is kind of in Visual Studios, how the way you run code. And .NET Core execute .NET Core build command. Yeah, that's what I want. Tasks. Okay, F5. The pre-launch task build terminated with Xcode 1. No. Command .NET task name build args nothing is build command true. Control compile. What is all of this? I hate when stuff just doesn't work. Pre-launch command build debug anyways. Debug adapter executable. Blah, 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 not found. Open launch.json. Alright, so clearly some stuff I'm not really wanting to dig into at this point. I'm okay with jumping over to the... just because it would be completely boring for you. Otherwise, I'd probably sit here and going, what the heck is going on? And start, you know, Googling around and all that kind of jazz. But I will not subject you to that. Oh, session started, what, 13 minutes ago? Someone's actually watching me again. Okay, cool. So where to go from here then? So you got program.cs. So I mean, it just looks like a standard, you know, console application. Nothing special there. I'm not sure really where to go here. I mean, I could just write a whole like little game or something and that, but so .NET Run, what is that? So it's like a build kind of a thing and a run. Let's just kind of take a look at .NET. Oh, okay, I don't know. Can you guys see that? I should really make this a little bit bigger. Hey, there we go. That's probably a little easier to see, right? .NET help. So what do we got here? Command line tool. And we can do new, which creates a new basic .NET project. Restore dependencies, build, publish, including the runtime. I wonder what that does. I might have to play with that. Run, just straight run it. Compiles and immediately executes. Test, runs unit test. Test runner, pack, creates a new get package. Oh, that's kind of cool. Just creates a So I wonder if that's just automatic or what. Let's try like .NET pack. Project DNH is previously compiled, skipping compilation. Boom, NuGet package. That was easy. Where'd it put it? I got this, you know, and here's some funky Dixieland, pretty mama girl. I don't know why I have that stuck in my head. I have no idea. Oh, so it puts it into your debug folder, I guess then. So bin debug. Oh, wait a minute, what? S desktop bin debug DNH, but it's not in there, is it? Unless it's just not showing. Oh, there they are. Yeah, apparently those NuGet package files do not get picked up in Visual Studio Code anywheres. I don't know if that's a bug or what. But they're ignored. So don't know why that is, but you can see it did create NuGet packages, which is pretty cool actually. Way easier than doing it before. So that's really nice. Let's try this publish command. What the heck does that do? My second. Previous script will publish to .NET Core. So publish is basically build for release. No, publish. Just probably gives you the DLL. No. Well, see, now this is a command line program. Why would it give us a DLL? So if I want to distribute a executable, how do I do that? So I don't really know what the publish actually does. Might as well turn to the Google and say, hey, what does that actually do? Maybe Google. Maybe I can just look on MSN. Holy cow, not this. You know, it's probably easier to go .NET publish command. Oh, here we go. Scott Hanselman's wrote a whole thing about this. So, probably just go look at that. That in a new store run. Let's try .NET -help publish. Maybe publish help? Or maybe it doesn't really tell me. Nope, there we go. .NET publish. Public current directory can be a path to project JSON directory, help framework, runtime, build output, service, native subdirectory, no build, target framework to compile for, target runtime to publish for. I wonder what options there are on runtime identifier. Because apparently I can't do that. So .NET Core runtime Nothing is fully implemented. Framework parameter, runtime, core CLR, yeah. Reference. Nope. So I don't really know what that does. .NET publishes PAX application dependencies folder, getting ready for Delio. Portable application, self-contained application. Oh, so maybe this stuff's in the project file. See, it's a little different when you're like, oh, and I suppose the .NET runtime, like you're gonna load a DLL, so there's no such thing as an actual console application or whatever, like an executable. But can you put it in an executable? Let's ask that. Let's ask that. Can you create an execute from .NET Core? Oh, this person has the exact opposite problem. Dependencies, frameworks, build options, entry point, emit entry point true. Bunch of stuff I don't care about. Now we got this. So there's really not a lot of information here on that kind of a deal. I mean, so how do you run this application without just .NET that thing, or can you? And maybe that's just, maybe that's kind of just the way it works. Because I mean, when you run a Node application, you just run Node in the thing. But that's interpreted, so this just, it feels weird. Just coming from just your standard .NET framework like background, it feels a little weird. .NET build, and we will say console executable. Nope, I already looked at that. Oh, not long. Yeah, so maybe it's just .NET Run. That's just what you do. So, I don't know. Package.NET Core executable. Yeah, so it's just .NET Run. Okay, so that's just something I didn't understand either. I mean, it just doesn't look like you don't really build an executable, like package up the .NET runtime into it. You do .NET Run, and that, it, like, my understanding, even with when you execute like a C++ program or whatnot, and I learned this from a show called Handmade Hero, that you're actually running the Microsoft C++ redistributable that then enters into your C++ application, Win32 type application or whatnot. So, so it's very similar to that. It doesn't like put it all together in a big blob and you can just say run. You have to do .NET Core run the application. So, let's just or .NET, just .NET run. No build. I don't like that. Like, I suppose, is that what? Verbose? Turn off verbose? Framework configuration project. Interesting. So, learned a little bit about it. Like I said, it's tied into this .NET Core thing. It's very Node-like feel versus what you get in Visual Studio anyways. It would be fun to try out that experience though, where you do, instead of doing it all the command line here, we'll do it in Visual Studio. Since I'm just kind of exploring it here anyways, why not, right? So let's see if I can find... Here we go. So instead we will grab the MSI installer and run that on Visual Studio and see what it looks like from that perspective. So yeah. And it's going to install too fast for me to show you that other project, that other thing I was working on, just playing around with last night. Alright, run tooling preview 1, that's what you get. Agree to the license. Go ahead and install. Get the security thing. Once we get that, ooh, setup has detected 1 instances of Visual Studio running, so I gotta close my other instances. Yeah. I think I'm all good there. So the other thing I might have to do here after I get this figured out is to try an actual, so you get .NET Core and then try to put the, do kind of like, okay, so you got Node, for instance. Okay, now you're going to get Express working. Well, I've got .NET Core. Now I want to get ASP.NET 5 or whatever you would call it. What is it actually called now? Because I know there's .NET Core. ASP... Next is what they called it forever. It's not available. What you're looking for? ASP.NET Core. So ASP5 is dead. You've got ASP.NET Core 1. Yeah. So getting this all out, this is whole new world type stuff for me, going from just doing it straight old .NET 4.6.1 or whatever, 4.5. I think I started kind of getting really into .NET when it hit 4.0. A little bit maybe before that, 3. Yeah, but... Alright. Okay, so you've got... ASP.NET Core 1 and 4.6 over here. That runs on .NET Framework 4.6. This runs on Core, which is what I've been playing with, and goes down. So this is a nice little diagram, which I should have read through earlier. Again, I was aware of this stuff, just not naming things for sure. Wow, that is really taking a little while, isn't it? A lot slower than the other one. Unless I'm missing something. Okay, so I'll continue on here with my other sidetrack story, and it'll probably finish by the time I'm done. So I was on Ludum Dare website the other day, and let's see if I can go back in time and find this here. Somebody posted this little editor that they're playing with, which I thought was kind of neat. Here we go, tiny sprite editor. Cool. And so I checked it out. See that? And it's not like the most intuitive thing in the world. It looks like he's added some stuff to it maybe, or maybe this is just cached from something I did earlier. But anyways, so you go over here and you can say, okay, I want to do black, and oh, now you can drag. He didn't have that before, so he must have updated some things since I last played with it. So he is developing it actively, it looks like, which is really cool. But anyways, you can make like little sprites and stuff in from here for games. And his design prowess here was to do it, as you can see on his page. He wants to make it so he can do it on Android, probably sitting there, on a tablet or something, playing around. Yeah, and under a single HTML page. Now I like that he's got all of the content here, or the editing capabilities, but I don't necessarily need it in like a separate package or whatever. So what I did is, out there, he did put the code on GitHub, and I forked it, and what I decided to do was try plopping it into Electron to make a standalone version. So let's see if I've got that up over here somewhere. And then I started tinkering a little bit with the look and feel of it. Is it this? Okay, so I moved it over here and dropped it into Electron. Then I started playing a little bit with the window in Electron to make it look not so windowy, I guess, which actually in Windows 10 it does look like a window. In Windows 7 this would look way different, but if you go out to my blog, and I need this article because they changed some stuff with Electron, but I made a little article out there on if it'll search. That's a really slow running installer. Just 10 minutes of your time. Making the Electron shell as pretty as the Visual Studio shell, whatever. So when you open up Visual Studio, oh shoot, which I'm installing, which I shouldn't. Might as well shut that off. Come on. I mean, I've got pictures in here, so you can see kind of here that this is how Visual Studio, looks. It's got the nice kind of chromeless window there. And this is what Visual Studio Code looks like, which it has the chrome around the arrow chrome and all that kind of stuff. It's a little more noticeable in Windows 7 than it is, or Windows 8 than it is in Windows 10, because they kind of changed a little bit of the chrome. But so I made this little article about how to basically make them look very similar. So you can see here was my final product. Here's Visual Studio. Here's my little dealio. So taking some of that code and applying it here, you can see I've got some button issues and those aren't wired up yet, and I did get this kind of flipped around. But anyway, so I could take that, and what I want to do with it is, so this UI, he's got the functionality there. I want to take the UI and play with it and say, okay, given this, how can I make it so this is very usable from my perspective? Like, one of the things is, this is your editing thing here. Maybe I'll centralize that. This should be kind of more like maybe a mini-map selection. I'm not really sure. You can see it's kind of here, the mini-map. You've got two views of the same thing. Maybe this is what you normally see, and then that goes out to a bigger one if you actually do want to, have more fine-grained control or whatnot. Maybe you don't care about tiling if you're not doing tiling, so why do you always see it? And these aren't critiques of the application by any means. Like I said, I'm not using it in the same way he is. I'm not looking at it from that way. I'm looking at it from, there's a lot going on here, but there's cool stuff going on here. So how can I take that cool stuff and really just make it easier to use from my perspective? And there's similar things like these windows that pop up. It's a window, but it's not really a window. And, there's a lot going on here. So you can definitely tell this person who made this is probably, like many programmers, including myself, like, yeah, just throw it all on there, But so it's an exercise in maybe usability, or and then just playing with CSS and JavaScript and that. and taking code that is, oh, I gotta actually kill it here, that is really just kind of monolithic, because he puts it in a single HTML file. Everything is in there, and breaking that out into, like, it's a huge HTML file. And how can I take code that already exists and break it down into something where I can, you know, have it be more manageable? So it's not a critique or anything like that. It's a, how can I take something that's already there and change it and make it not better, but you know, different and stuff like that. So yeah, so I was playing with that last night just for fun. I probably should live stream that. Hey, there we go. It's now installed. So that gave me enough time to talk about that, which is cool. All right, let's pop up Visual Studio here then and see what we get when we do it there. Of course, it's looking for MEF components. If you've never dealt with MEF before, it's kind of cool. It's really, really simple to build a extensible framework type thing. Sorry, I got my phone in front of me now here because I saw that I had a... You know, I've done this a million times where I've got email right in front of me. I could just pop it up, but I'm looking at my phone instead to grab the same thing. But okay, so here we got Visual Studio. I'm assuming we need to do a new project, and somewhere in here will be .NET Core. Game, oh yeah. Maybe not. It will be under C#. Oh, here we go, .NET Core. Class library, console, okay. And so maybe originally I did create a console, I don't know. Well, so this is like I said, very much, I'm assuming it hides a lot of stuff away from you, so that's why I wanted to kind of do the command line route originally. So let's call this hello world, or hello.net core. All right. Okay. And let's see what that gives us. All right. You know, it's exactly what you'd expect from a standard .NET application, although I think it added some additional stuff up here. Okay, solution items. One big deal difference is that you don't have projects. As you can see, you've got your solution, you've got some solution folders here, and you sort of have a project file, kind of. It doesn't look the same as what you would get in a normal console application. I'm sure that a lot of it's based off this project file here. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what this actually looks like when you open it up. Okay, so you got global.json, which is what? Not really much there. .NET Core. You got a folder, so you do have an xproj apparently. And an xproj. What's an xproj? Project, property group, blah blah blah. So it's basically just a container for, you know, to keep track of files, I'm guessing. Okay. But we've got that here, so if we run it, we pop up yep, there we go. So it just, see, this is the deal. If I would have just gone this route, what, you know, got it, right line. I mean, to me it doesn't feel very different from just writing your normal standard console application with .NET 4.6 or whatnot. So, so definitely going at it from the command line the first time or whatever makes sense for this, especially when you're in this learning phase, I guess, and then use Visual Studio afterwards to add all this, you know, syntactical stuff and the sugar and all that kind of thing. So, let's see here. What was I going to do next? Probably write a little... what am I looking for? So last thing I'll probably do here before I sign off is I want to try to do like the kind of Hello World, just ASP.NET core application. So I should be able to do that within this project, I would assume. So let's go ahead and look for ASP. Oh, there's like stuff going on here. Like downloading some stuff. ASP.NET Core. Getting started. I wonder if I've got some C# stuff I need here. Okay. Install .NET Core. Done that. Let me make this bigger. Create new .NET Core project. Okay, did that basically. Update project JSON to add Kestrel HTTP server package as a dependency. Now, you'd think I should be able to do something like, if it's similar to NPM, or, well, Node, I guess, has NPM, but it would just be something like install Kestrel save dev or something like that, but I guess I've got to manually edit this. So we'll do that. So under dependencies, we say Kestrel server, which is the web server, I'm pretty sure. Cool. And we need to restore then. So, did I already close that? No, I didn't. .NET restore. Okay, so that should have grabbed Kestrel, I'm assuming. Okay. Now we're in our app. Add startup CS that defines request handling logic. Okay. So we'll do that next. New file, startup.cs. Okay. We'll just copy that in because I don't want to. Whoa. Grabbing too much there, Sean. All right. And our namespace is not that. It's what? Console application. Okay. See, I can feel like, you know, I know that they made it so you can do the code editing and stuff with Visual Studio Code, but, you know, for this kind of stuff, it really feels like getting the full features of Visual Studio would be nice. But I guess if you're on a Mac or Linux, you just don't have that luxury. I mean, I can understand being on an inferior platform. And everyone out there goes, I'm never watching this guy's YouTube channel ever again. All right, so ASP.NET Core hosting, a namespace. Let's go to our hello this here. So we add that in there, and then we need to add our website and start it up, or our web host and start up. So web host builder, use Kestrel, use startup class, which points to here. Build, I'm not really sure what that does. But this is a builder pattern, I think. So this is saying use this, did it, and then build it is what it is. So this is probably just setting some stuff. It's a builder pattern if you haven't heard of that. I'm assuming what's going on there. Ted Neward just made a article about builder pattern just recently in C#. And implementation C, it should say C# there because it's a C# one. But he kind of goes into depth on it. I read through this, and I'd seen the builder stuff. I mean, it's a gang of four pattern or whatever. If you've read that, or at least you should be at least familiar with the concepts out there. I couldn't rattle off the pros and cons and stuff like that of builder, but I think when I see it, I can recognize, you know, you build a part, which is what use Kestrel builds a part. And then you have a construct thing, which actually returns a thing in the end, which is this build. deal here. I think that's what's going on. But anyways, then you run the app and you're ready to go, it looks like. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. All right, .NET run. Boom. All right, so very notish feeling, express feeling, whatever. Localhost 5000. Good choice, 5000. Hello from ASP.NET Core. So, and let's see, what is that actually? Oh, in our startup here, app.run. Return context response, right? Async. Okay, so it just always returns that. Perfect. So that gets us up and started with a web server. Fantastic. Now, how do we actually route stuff? No idea. I do want to figure that out quick. And then I'll probably sign off for the night. So, building your first ASP with Visual Studio, Mac using code, Web API with, yeah, let's do Web API. HTTP is not serving web pages, just for serving web pages, of course. Whoa, hello, Sally. There's a lot going on here. So this is like a full-on explanation of everything, not just like if you know the pattern already, how to get started. Tutorials. Let's look at the Mac one. See what they do there. .NET. Oh, hey, how do I get that to work on Windows? I gotta figure that out. So, application builder. Wait. Collection services. Yeah, I don't need to know how to get initialized. I want to know what I don't know. Building your first web API, deploy. I'm going to have to go through this. Web API, to do, add, new folder. Oh, and they're doing it in Visual Studio, so. Class to, so that's adding our data transfer object, model, whatever you want to call it. Creating a whole repository. Man, you guys go through all this stuff just to show. I suppose they're doing end-to-end kind of a deal. That's what they want, but I don't want all of this. I want just your basic. How do I get a route? Okay, here we go. So route API to do controllers. So it's very MVC-esque, I'm guessing. Add a controller. Well, let's play with that a little bit, see if we can make it work. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking over the documentation here again. I feel like I'm missing something. Because I mean, they have like the ASP.NET Core web application. So what if you're trying to not do that from building your first MVC app? Visual Studio. I don't want to do it from Visual Studio. From Visual Studio, adding a controller. Yeah, see, it hides all this stuff away. I want to know how to do it from scratch. So this showed me from scratch, right? Hey, you've got this thing. I don't know what configure on startup does. App.run context. So this is, I'm assuming, is just a lambda that says any request, process it like this. Tutorials. You'd think that scaffolding. So you do have to do some scaffolding. What if you see, like, why do you have to rely on scaffolding? Like, walk me through doing it from startup. Just show me the hard way, then give me the scaffolding so I can learn it. That'd be awesome. Instead, you kind of have to go through the scaffolding and then reverse engineer everything that's happening, which is kind of stinks. Like, wow, this really goes ahead. So. And there's like the screenshots here and stuff. You can't really like look at it. So what I could do, and I've done this before, is go to GitHub and look for like an ASP.NET like base project for template. Let's call it a template. Clean shave. That's cool. So we've got all that stuff. You go into here, and that doesn't look. That looks like old school stuff. Yep. Look at all this. Look at all this stuff you get in there. Jeez. Well, I mean, that's really what, when you do express generate, you get all that stuff, but, so maybe I'm just being unfair. Okay, well, so it's funny, you have to go out to Node to build this thing for ASP.NET. Just, like, why? I like Node, don't get me wrong. I'm fine with it being there. You have to add in Bower and Gulp and all this stuff. Generator ASP.NET, create ASP.NET. Yo, ASP.NET, I love that. I just love Yeoman, like, yo. And then this whole thing is funny. I think I've gone through this once before. So instead of going and using this exact app here, we'll just start over and weird CLS. Oh no, what am I doing? Okay, there we go. Why do I keep pasting? Don't mean to paste. Anyways, npm, let's just make sure I've got this stuff installed. So woohoo. So apparently you need, like I said, npm installed, which if you're not familiar with, npm is Node Package Manager. It's when you're doing node development. You use that a lot. And apparently to get started with, found potential issues. What? Upgrade your latest version. My npm version's out of date. Oh no, man. That bummer, dude. I should probably go and just do that anyways, just so I don't get that. npm install g npm. That's nice and recursive, right? Cool. So you're sitting here watching YouTube with me on a Thursday night, maybe if you're watching the live stream, of course, and you're like, well, I really wanted to watch somebody enter commands into the command line and install npm. It's brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Anyways, so that'll install here, and then generator ASP.NET. So it's very much like Express Generator, if you're familiar with that. Okay, so let's do it. Just copy that in there. Why not? Wow, look at that. That's really neat. Ooh, grab all this stuff. They get really inventive with like these downloader imagery in command lines. It's something that just, it's an art. This is a different one than I've seen before. Like normally I've seen like kind of like the arrow going across, but I've never seen it update the information here, do like the little round robby thing. Oh, and like, oh, this apparently changes too. And have the status loading bar. That is a work of art, people. Whether you believe it or not. So, one of the things I'm thinking about working on, which I'll save for another live stream, and I'll probably maybe do it in, maybe I'll do it in ASP.NET, because I've written a full Node application. I was thinking of doing it there, but doing it in ASP.NET Core would be a good idea, just to get the whole deal. But what I want to do is create a, whoa, there it goes, is create a service for registering high scores. So like, let's say I wanted to build a game and I want to create a high score system for it. So what I would do is I could go on to the site, register, get a API key, and then I could have that API key update. I could send, create like a game or whatever, have games, and then I could send a high score for that game up. And so you presumably could have this service sitting out there running, and people could have high scores listings for their games, and just, there's probably already stuff out there, because most of the time if you think about something, it exists. So I could probably just go find one and use it, but what I want to do is build something like that just for fun. It's a simple project, and it would be maybe useful if I ever wanted to add a high score thing to my game, which is a very kind of like, can be a very important thing in games. So gives a reason to play, get the high score. All right, so we do that. We want to create and then yo into it. So let's get back out of here. Make directory of oh, showing you my whole desktop there. Make directory of, we'll call this I don't know, and we will go cd, I don't know, and we will go yo ASP.NET, and yo is not, because I didn't install it globally, did I? No, I thought I did. I bet no. Why aren't you working? npm install globally yo. Maybe it's when I updated, that stuff didn't get updated with it. Well, I'm sorry to make you sit through more of this stuff. You don't have to sit and watch it, but that's what happens with live streams, right? It's completely raw. I was thinking about this the other day, and when you write a blog post, blog posts, you only see the final product of what people have done, right? So I could have sat here, everything I'm doing with live stream, and I can just distill that down into, whoa, that's kind of neat. Neat. There we go. And you could distill that down in a simple post. Here's how you do it. And you're like, great, I don't have to go through all that crap you went through. But when you're live streaming, this is what you're seeing. This is what people do, is they sit and they figure this stuff out. And why did I run that again? I don't know. It should just say, like, hey, you don't need to install it again. Right? You'd think that it'd be like, nah, your package is good because I checked it. And I just make you sit through another thing and waste time. Because I wasn't thinking, my mind was in that other comment. So this gives us another little bit of time to talk about. But so like live streaming, if you're trying to watch this to get information about how to do this kind of stuff, there might be some value here. But what it could be, it would be maybe good, is to take like everything you learn in one of these live streams, record it, go through, distill the information down to like a blog post, and then, you know, link back to the video and say, hey, if you want to see how I came to these conclusions, how I did this stuff, what my thought process was, you can go back and watch the video. And that's kind of a cool like connection. You get kind of two things out of one. So I might try to play with that if I can get my time open up. With my job changing, it's going to be a big hassle, I think, at this point in time. Yo. So yo is not recognized. What did I do wrong? Maybe I'm in the wrong command prompt. No, that one was working for us before. npm install Yeoman. Yo is not recognized. I was having this earlier when I was trying to install something, and yeah, you know, I might need to add something to my path. This is probably my problem. So I was trying to do this the other night, making when I made this airsoftware thing for an airsoft game that I was doing, and I kept having this trouble where, like, why isn't it installing? It's not working. And I didn't have time that night to actually dig into it. And really, I don't have time right now to dig into it either, but we will try to anyways. What am I doing? Alright, this PC, properties. If you've never added something to your path before, this is a crash course, but you probably have. So, path environmental variable. Now, do I want to edit the big path or the little path? I don't know. They did change this recently to make it like a lot easier to use. It used to be very cumbersome to edit stuff. No, it's just letting the dogs out. Let's throw it in here and see if. Let's see, what's my name on this one? Racco. Really quick. So, users. sracco. App data. Roaming. npm. Okay, yep, that's where I need to be. Okay. Okay. And of course, you can't just run it again. Yo. Okay, so hey, good. He knows how to do it then. So, fix that problem, because that's what I do. I fix problems. And desktop, and I don't know. Yo ASP.NET. Alright, so back in business here. Let's get this going here. What kind of application do you want to create? Use the arrow keys. An empty web application, console, web app, web application basic, without membership and authorization. Web API, so I'm familiar with most of these. What the heck is a Nancy? Nancy ASP.NET application? That's a good question. I have never heard of a Nancy ASP.NET. Oh, Nancy FX. What is Nancy FX? I'm assuming it's just where's the high level talk about it? First of all, welcome to Nancy. These guys, a quick tour of features Nancy without diving into many details. There will be more things. Nancy is a lightweight, low ceremony framework for building HTTP-based services on .NET and Mono. The goal of the framework is to stay out of your way. Good. Cool. You can go to zero to a website in a matter of minutes, literally. Why did you add the literally? I mean, it really is just a matter of minutes. You said what you're saying. Anyways. the super duper happy path. It just works. Good. Okay. So it's just a different way to build this kind of stuff. I'm assuming the other one uses Kestrel or whatever, and that uses Dancy, and it's just different. Let's go ahead and make a web application because I'm not going to create a web API one. Let's see. Which UI framework would you like to use? Ooh, how about, what if you wanted to use none? You can't. Select that. I've never used Semantic UI. I've used Bootstrap. What is Semantic UI? Look at how much stuff you just balloons out into if you've never Semantic UI. So I'm assuming that it is just kind of looking around here. Simplified debugging. This is very different. Like, I've seen a lot of documentation come out this looking way. What is this? Getting started with Semantic UI. Just how about where's the About page? Menu. About. Getting started. New. Introduction. Do they have just kind of like, or is this considered the About page? Okay, simple examples. Yeah, so it's just very bootstrap-y, probably a little bit different feel to it, which is nice. You see enough bootstrap applications after a while, and things get a little wonky or just like, ugh. I've seen that a million times. Let's go with Bootstrap because I don't really want to learn that right now. What's the name of my ASP.NET application? I don't know. I'm all done running install Bower. npm install on Bower. If this fails, try running command yourself. Okay. So we're installing some stuff. Obviously a little bit different from when you are installing it in Visual Studio. A lot of this stuff is just hidden away and it's done for you. You know, when I wonder, so people talk about, you know, gardening, and gardening being like working with your hands and just being closer into stuff. I wonder if there's a certain feel like that with command line where, you know, building it yourself and doing like things and seeing all this stuff, like, is there something more like visceral about it? The same concept is kind of like an Agile, where apparently sticky notes, people use sticky notes a lot. We have all these great tools out there that do this stuff for us. Like, we could just go to a thing and type it in. But there's supposed to be something a bit more like connective when you actually physically go up and move one of those cards from, you know, this to the next. And now that, like, this is all in here, you know, in the computer, right, with command line versus that. But when you're using like a GUI application versus typing in commands, like, there's just more, I mean, there's just more cognitive load and more, like, the UI isn't as intuitive. And so it feels very, very much more rudimentary and very, I don't know, less high tech, I guess. So I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's maybe some sort of connectivity that you have to your code if you're using the command line more. I'm just positing that as a question. I don't really know. But anyways, all right. So we've got our, I don't know, application here. Let's just open it with code because I want to look at it in that versus anywhere else. Oops, actually we'll go in a layer though. I don't know if there's a way in Visual Studio Code to kind of like zoom in on a particular folder, but it would be nice. Some projects have trouble loading. Why? Downloading, configuring, telemetry. Cannot find the runtime target for Possible causes. Project now restored. Whatever. I don't need to necessarily do anything with that here. Alright, so just like you do when you create a regular old ASP.NET application, you get all this kind of junk in here. Your standard web.config type thing. Uses Kestrel with IIS integration. Okay. You know, Gulp is something I've never really looked into that I need to, as well as Bower. I'll have to deep dive into one of those when I really just get a handle on what it is. So, www root. I'm assuming this is where all your static files go. We get into here. We have what, Razor templates? Yep, Razor templates. Definitely would be better to use Visual Studio proper for this kind of stuff, because I'm assuming like IntelliSense doesn't work very well in here. You know, this is kind of interesting what they decided to do here, and I think this is really, and this is probably in the ASP.NET stuff as well, but they have like services, so they add a little bit of just application architecture beyond MVC by putting services in here, the interfaces and then the implementations. That's kind of different. A ton of node modules. Holy cow. They're getting you ready for anything you might need in there. Models, so they give you all the account application stuff here. All right, cool. And controllers. So yeah, it's very much just like your standard ASP.NET type thing. So now, can I do .NET run? Oops. No, I got a CD to, I don't know. Oh, it doesn't have. How would I go .NET restore? Is that what I need to do? And download a bunch of stuff. You know, although this feels a little cooler, it doesn't really like seem to, I don't know if it really makes you more efficient with things, maybe. Okay, so we're at 5,000, so let's see what we get here. Is it just your standard looking application or not? Oh, there we go. Hey, cool. And ooh, pretty. They've updated Bootstrap apparently. Yeah, a little bit. They must be using a newer version maybe. Or I thought they're on Bootstrap 4. Oh no, here it is. Bootstrap 4 is coming. I don't know, but this looks like way cooler. I don't know why. Did they use a different font or what? Maybe it's just that there's just more going on. Like this isn't just your standard like stupid, you know, like welcome to your ASP.NET application thing. But yeah, this looks really familiar. Never mind. There's just something cleaner, crisper about it looking. I don't know. Anyways, well, cool. So able to get that stuff up and running, and this just looks like your standard, like you develop it the same kind of way. So I don't really know, other than Kestrel and not having IIS and starting from the thing, that feels like the biggest difference at this point. I don't know. Well, anyways, it's been fun. It's been about an hour. I should probably get off here. Again, this was just kind of dipping my toes into a .NET Core and ASP.NET and getting kind of a feel for just how you even just hello world and get started with that kind of stuff. Now I have to actually try building an application. I'm not exactly sure like what at this point, why if I was just sitting down developing something I would choose to write an ASP.NET Core application versus a 4.6 or whatever on regular .NET. If I could understand if you were on Mac or Linux, or you know, if you're deploying to something else, maybe. I'm just trying to understand why I would do that. I can understand like switching to Node and running Node because there you get, I mean, it's JavaScript and it's just different set of libraries and if you like that pattern kind of thing, great. So yeah, but I better, probably give that a try anyways. Probably build out that high scores application, because why not? But I think I'm gonna go to bed for the night. Tomorrow is Friday. Woohoo! Be my start for the end of my second to last week of working at my current place. So a week from tomorrow will be my last day on the job there, after effectively 7 years of stuff. So minus my little 7-month blip at another company that I spent for a while, which was remote in the same town, so it didn't feel like I had left very much. But this will be back in a different town. So anyways, I got my dog here. You can't really see her. Come on, come on. Maybe you can see. Oh, Kashi. This is my dog, Cassie. All right, get down. And so that's who I've been petting down here as I've been speaking. Anyways, I suppose it's about time. Have a good night, everyone. mylifeforthecode.com. Check back for live streams in the near future. If you follow me on Twitter, @Schwani. I will tweet out right before I start streams. Maybe I will tweet out a little bit ahead and say I'm starting stream in 10-20 minutes, so you can actually try to tune in before the stream starts. So if you'd like me to cover something or have a question that you want me to answer or anything, I would be totally open to doing that kind of thing, just for fun. Or if you're like, hey, you're a developer, I'm a developer, I want to know something, feel free to ask. So have a good night. I will stop the stream.